right. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let me get everything running smoothly. Just want to make sure my thumbnails and titles are all good. Got to do all the YouTube things. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday to you. Welcome back to another week in the markets, taking a look at things that are going on. I'm just grabbing this thumbnail and then we are off to the races for the week. And it looks like we are good. All right. Hello. I see some people in the chat already. Very cool to have you guys with me on a Monday. One of the coolest things about being a trader is that you kind of like weekends are nice, but weeks are great too, because you get to look at the markets and look for trade setups. And we probably all share that interest if you guys are spending time with me here. So welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing? Let's see. Rustenberg TV asks, how was your weekend? It was very good. Thank you for asking. I went to I listened to some blues music. If you follow me on Instagram, I put it on my story. It was so good. We went to this little like tavern spot in Atlanta, and we listened to some live music, and it was incredible. So very, very fun. Hope you guys had a good weekend as well. We've got some stuff to look at for sure here in the markets. I think we should probably start with what we usually start with, which is the currency heat map. If you're new here, then welcome. Hey, can I get a little check from you guys? What do you want to look at today? What markets are you looking at? Do you have trades going on? If you are trading, what are you looking at? Just drop it in the chat for me, and I'll try and get to as many as I can today just to see what we can do for you. So you already know we go live for about 30 minutes to an hour, and we talk about the not stocks. We don't do stocks here. That's for losers, right? No, we talk about the hot markets that are out there moving, and stocks are not for losers. I invest in stocks all the time, so ignore me. Anyways, I got some feedback from you guys. We got some people talking about gold, CAD, yen, pound, New Zealand. We got gold on there. I'm in a sell on gold. Do you guys just all trade gold? Is that what we're seeing here? Everybody just trades gold, huh? USD Swiss buy, says Jared. We'll take a look at it all. We are going to run through a lot of different markets today. I invite you to stick around, hang out with me. Hey, and for those of you guys who are on the second channel watching, very excited to have you here on the new channel. This is actually being streamed to two places at once. So you've got this being streamed to my channel, Trader Nick, but you've also got it streaming to our company channel, which is going to be doing lots of free stuff. So if you're not already on the secondary channel, definitely check it out. There is a link. Actually, I don't know if it's in the description or not, but you can definitely check out the second channel by just searching up A1 Trading on YouTube. So we're going to be doing some fun stuff there. Going to be having some new hosts and some new faces tune in and do some content for you guys on the secondary channel. So if you like what we do and you want to see more than just me, then definitely get ready for that secondary channel. So okay, let's see what we can do. So let's go ahead and head over to the currency heat map really quick. So the currency heat map, let's see what it tells us for today. So New Zealand dollar seems to be the winner. I'm sitting here kicking myself. Should have held on to some of my New Zealand trades. Had a New Zealand yen trade about 2 weeks ago. That was absolutely fantastic. Definitely I think I took like a 2.5 R or something like that. Took a really good trade there, and it just kept running. Have you guys ever been in a position where things just keep going and going and going in your favor? It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, man, you feel really good. Mohammed says gold, please. Don't worry. We'll get there. Don't you guys worry. We're going to get to gold. Calm yourselves. Calm yourselves in the chat. It's a Monday morning. For me, it might be Monday afternoon for you guys, but lots of stuff coming. So stay with me. We're going to get to it all. Just stick around, chill out, and we'll go through it. Hi, I'm new here, says Harry. Do you also do cryptocurrency? Harry, we don't do crypto usually on my streams, but it's funny you mentioned that. I do actually want to get a cryptocurrency show going, not with me as a host because I'm not really a crypto expert, but we're in the works to find some more hosts to do some content for you guys. So stay with me on that, but we will probably be doing some cryptocurrency in the future. Make sure to subscribe to that secondary channel, A1 Trading. That's our team channel where we're going to be doing lots of different stuff. All right. So yeah, seems like the winner of the day is going to be the Australian, the CAD, and the New Zealand. Kind of a good day for those commodity currencies. So all three of these, the Aussie, the CAD, and the New Zealand, are all positively impacted by, I mean, I guess every economy is positively impacted by economic growth throughout the world. However, these ones especially are because of the fact that when things are looking good, when pandemics seem to be subsiding, fingers crossed, those things are good for these economies, especially because of their heavy focus on global trade. So if you're an economy, if you're sitting there and you rely on doing your business with places all around the world, well, if everything shuts down, that's really bad for your economy. Whereas if there's an economy that's more self-sufficient and sort of slow and steady and growth oriented, like Japan or Switzerland, those currencies tend to do well when things get scary. But when we have optimism in the world, like it seems like we have on this wonderful Monday morning, it looks like we have room for upside on Aussie, CAD, and New Zealand. So we will take a look at some of those. What's the US dollar? So the US dollar today is a bit mixed. Fortunately, it's moving well on the trade that I am in right now. For those of you guys who are members, I have a video coming out on that for the public, but for those of you guys who are members, you already saw I took the trade a while ago here on USD CHF about, I don't know, maybe 10 hours ago. So things are looking good there. Up 0.27% on the day is the dollar Swiss, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about two major economies, a single percent is a massive move, right? It's very big. So you have to keep that in check. So let's go through them. Let's go through some of the charts that we've got here. SoapJS says I sub to the team channel. You know you're a real subscriber. You know you're a dedicated follower when you subscribe to the secondary channel, because it's much smaller and it's still in process of becoming a real channel, but we will get it going. Game Life says, Nick, please explain a bit about the heat map reading. Sure. So for the newer guys and girls out there who are watching on the daily now, the currency heat map is something that I've got on my site. You guys can go get this anytime you want. Just head over to a1trading.com. There's the link, and you just go over to the currency heat map right there. And this is just going to tell you all of the major currencies. You've got the euro through the New Zealand crossed against the other ones, or crossed against each other, and telling you which ones are hottest, which ones are weakest, right? So you've got currencies here in green are going to be the ones, Aussie against the euro. The Aussie is winning a lot today. Aussie against the dollar. The Aussie is winning a lot today. The Aussie is winning against the yen. The Aussie is winning against the pound. And when I say winning, I mean appreciating, going higher against the other currency. For example, let's go look at AUD JPY just as an example to visualize what we're talking about. I know from the currency heat map that Aussie yen today is moving up, right? And bam. So I find it very helpful. I don't know if you guys use it as well or anything like that, but I find the currency heat map incredibly helpful for my own trading. And that's why it's on the website, just because it keeps me focused on what I think is most important to look at. Phil, thank you very much for that kind comment. Says, hope you had a nice weekend. I hope all of you guys had a nice weekend. Hopefully you rested a little bit and hung out. Victoria from Australia says, good day. Hi, Victoria. Welcome to today's stream. Euro USD watching, says Chris. We'll take a look at Euro USD. Don't you even worry, Chris. I like that picture you're in, by the way. That looks like good food there. You're making me hungry, and it's only 9 a.m. Thank you very much for that. Good morning. It's 6 p.m. here. Well, that just made it confusing, didn't it? Well, let's get into some stuff, you guys. So why not start with Aussie Yen? This is we'll change it up a little bit. Talk about this currency pair, which seems to be moving hot today. In fact, one of the bigger movers for the day is our good friend AUD JPY. I'm excited, you guys. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm in a good mood today, and I'm ready for the week. So video quality is so bad. Is it? Are you guys having? Do I look bad? I mean, I did my hair for you guys. Are you kidding me? You're telling me the quality is so bad you can't even see me? Is the video quality bad, you guys? Help me out. No? Okay. Okay. Appreciate you. All right. Do you love me? I love you. Sure. I don't know who you are, but if you're here hanging out with me, hey, we're in our own little circle here. So welcome to the bonfire. All right. Aussie Yen. So when I look at this currency pair, the thing is, yes, there's a lot of strength here, but we're kind of in the middle of a range. So you can actually see we're in a mixed spot, right? So the demand is down here. The resistance is down up here. So up is down, down is up. But the idea here is when we're in the middle of a range like this, for me, this means not a lot. As a swing trader, as a bigger trend trader, I'm not looking to trade this thing when it's in the middle of a range. Now, if you're a shorter term trader, like if you're looking at Ozzy Yen today and you're looking at the 1 hour chart, and let's say for whatever reason you think that this thing is overstretched, then you might be looking at some resistance points. You might be, fishing for some give back if we pop up into this zone. Maybe you think that this zone could also offer some resistance. But for me, that's just not where I'm looking to focus. For me, I'm looking for the bigger move. So if you were to bear on Aussie Yen fundamentally, or whatever reason you have, in that case, maybe I would be saying, keep an eye on this supply zone. This seems like the most dominant supply zone. So I like to keep things incredibly simple because my little brain doesn't work too good sometimes. And I find that the simpler I do it, the easier it is for me to actually be successful. So I just mark the major zones of support and resistance. I don't go too fancy with it. I try and just keep it very simple. And I just say, hey, if I'm bullish on a currency pair, I'm pretty much not going to be selling it at any point. So for me, looking at Aussie Yen, I would not sell this. So if price came up to this point, I wouldn't sell it because I like the Australian dollar as a fundamental buy against the yen. The yen is a slow and conservative economy compared to the Australian economy. So the idea here is that the Australian economy, should things continue to do well, should things continue to recover from this annoying pandemic that we've all had to endure, right? Well, if that continues to be the story, something like this, I would probably bet that Australia would continue to outpace Japan as it has been doing for a while. And again, keeping it super simple, I'm saying I think it will continue to outpace just because I'm going with the trend. I find that so much simpler than trying to call a top or bottom. So I think that the trend that is in motion is likely going to continue. Can I be wrong about that? Absolutely. And you bet your bottom dollar, I have been wrong many times in the past. So my idea, though, is that I think that I have some sort of a better chance of being successful if I ride the fundamental trend, if I look for a catalyst, if I look for a breakout, and I look to try and ride that move higher. So something like this. If we get a big pop on the Aussie dollar, I could very well see myself looking for this trade setup. A little bit of breathing room, a little bit of pullback, and try and buy what was a broken level of resistance. So that's my major thought process on Aussie Yen, keeping it very simple. If we see a breakout this week, you bet your bottom dollar I'll be looking for some pullbacks on this trade to try and go higher. So that's my thought. Mariana says, going with the trend. Yes, indeed. So let's keep going. So that's Aussie Yen. I want to talk about Euro dollar because this one, as I mentioned yesterday, is quite a frustrating trade for me right now, or not a trade. I'm not in this trade, but a frustrating currency pair. So the euro against the dollar, a little bit weak today, kind of flat. But the idea here is let's see if we can start fresh and talk about the euro dollar. For my friends who are asking about gold, I know it's somewhere in the chat. We will get there. Don't you worry. Just give me a little bit of a time here, and we will get to it all. All right, so daily chart real quick on the euro dollar. Is this thing going higher? Is this thing going lower? Is this thing going backwards? We'll figure it out. Here's the thing. So with the euro dollar, I think that this thing is not necessarily in a strong, it's not the same uptrend that it was back here. During this time, let me just give you guys, so if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know at this period of time, I was bullish on the euro USD. I actually took some great trades. I got to pat myself on the back here. I took some great trades in the euro dollar in 2020 on the bullish side, made some good money there, and rode that thing higher multiple times. I was a bull back in this zone, right? Caught some great trades. At a certain point, things started to shift. So why did things shift dramatically in my view? Well, one of the major reasons that headlines everything right now in terms of Forex, and in my view, it's like the number one news article or piece to know is that vaccine rollouts are huge, right? Because again, I say it almost every stream because it is so important, but the faster vaccines roll out in different parts of the world, the faster they can arguably get back to normal, right? The UK has done really well compared to a lot of places in the world at bouncing back, getting vaccines rolled out to the public and getting their economy back. Now, it's not to say that they've done it perfectly, and nobody has, and I'm not like blaming or getting political or anything like that. I'm just saying that the perceived rate at which vaccines roll out is a sort of indicator for GDP growth. And GDP growth indicates whether or not a currency could have more value, right? If an economy is stronger, that's where you can usually see the currency rise. Because if an economy is really strong, if it starts really growing, then the Fed or the central bank of that country might say, "Hey, we need to slow down this growth because we don't want to grow too fast. Too fast of growth is not necessarily healthy." Don't ask me all about it. I'm not an economist, but the basic idea is too much growth is not good. Too little growth is absolutely not good either. So they want a healthy level of growth. And so in that case, what they may do is hike rates. I know this sounds like a lot of noise to the very new traders out there, but if you stick around with my streams long enough, then you'll probably hear this concept enough times that it will start to make sense. But this is why a lot of times currencies move the way they move. Is if you have perceived rate hikes or rate cuts, that is one of the major movers of currencies. So during this time, the vaccine rollout was poor in the US. It was not so good for the US, and it was perceived as much better in Europe. Well, that actually kind of flipped. We had a slowdown in Europe of vaccine rollouts, and we had a increase in vaccine rollouts here in the US. And on top of that, the presidential elections were over. And that was a whole, if you guys are living in the US, oh my gosh, during those times, things are just crazy. You go on social media, you go anywhere, anybody wants to talk about it. It's just like constant disagreeing and arguments and debates and all that. And anyways, the markets sort of reflect that. They get uncertain about what's going to happen with the presidency. Not to say that they favor one or the other. I mean, they probably do, but the idea is uncertainty is scary for markets. So anyways, with the euro now, where we are currently at, the euro is rising quite a bit the last few weeks because of sort of a shift back again in the narrative, or what seems to be the thought process on the euro. Now things seem to be better now, or at least that vaccine rollouts could be quicker now. And then the rest of 2021 could actually be a nice little growth zone for the Eurozone, right? So that's the thought right now. Now with the US dollar, I'm kind of bullish on the US dollar. So I'm not necessarily interested in buying the euro against the dollar. If anything, I would be more bearish on this currency pair, as I have been. I tried to sell it here, didn't work out. So where are we at with it now? Well, I think you've got some key resistance here. Should price pop up into some of these upper areas and maybe even the previous high, I could see myself looking for some opportunities to try and short once again. But I'm going to be patient with this because this thing seems quite strong. But it does look like we are getting a bit stretched here. You can see we're giving back a little bit of that move today, little rollover today. But if we do end up popping up into those regions, I may be looking to go short on this currency pair. Now, I'm happy with this because my USD CHF trade is going well so far with a little bit of dollar strength today. So hopefully we can try and get there on that one. But again, just my thoughts on the dollar, the euro dollar. I think that in terms of resistance, this level is going to be a key one to watch, that level being right around 1.215. Okay. Last time we were there, price, you can see we were sort of trying to make this higher high. And then we shot up and ultimately just saw a lot of rejection, followed through for like a month there. So could be in the works. There is a little bit of euro USD bearishness as we get up there. So with that said, we'll take a look at the 1 hour chart. Somebody says euro dollar is at support on the 1 hour chart. If you're a bull on the euro, from a 1 hour perspective, there's some pretty nice technical structure here. If you're a short-term bull on the euro dollar, if you think that this is going to continue to stretch higher, you would probably want to keep an eye on this level. But again, for me, this is probably not a trade I would take, just because I am bearish on this pair should we pop up to a region. So I have no trade at this point. But totally, if we saw something like this, then that could, be a nice trade for the short-term traders. And for me, it could be a room to sell up into this area. And I want to say this, we could both disagree on a currency pair technically, right? You could say, I think it's going up, and I could say it's going down. And the weird thing is we could actually both make money, because let's say that you took this trade, right? Let's say you bought this trade and you bought the euro dollar, and then you sold it right here. And then I sold it here, and then bought it, somewhere over here. That scenario actually makes it so that both a buyer and a seller can make money. And the thing about markets that's kind of cool is they move all over. They don't move in a straight line. So there's room, even in an uptrend, for sellers to make money and for buyers to make money. Now, I think it's arguably much harder for sellers to make money in an uptrend, right? Because your moves are smaller. For me, this is why I'm a trend follower, is I think that it's easier to make money on these big, extensive moves, right? And that's where I've pretty much built most of my trading strategy is going with the bigger moves. So you have the choice, if you want to be a counter trend trader, then by all means, there are people out there who are probably pretty successful with that. I know some people who love to trade counter trend, looking for, price to get overextended, even in an uptrend, and looking to sell it, which I think it's a more difficult path personally. But again, the cool thing about markets is it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what works for you and what you've tested and found to be profitable for you, for your own approach. So just something to think about. Thank you very much. Pacific Inc. says, good morning, Nick. Wish you great trades this week. Hope you grab some nice moves in the market as well. So thank you. It's earnings season in the U.S. That is true, Yasin, or Yasin. I'm not sure how to say your name. I apologize. In terms of the S&P 500, we could take a quick look at it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it just because we're mostly Forex traders here, but this is the U.S. stock market. So we are coming into earnings season, which is a big deal for stocks. This is where big companies produce their reports on whether or not they made money, lost money, made a lot of money, made a little bit of money. And so that has a really big impact potentially on the S&P 500. We actually see it hovering right around previous highs. So if you trade SPX 500, US 30, NAS 100, if you trade any of those, the idea here is keeping an eye on those earnings, because if you get a positive earnings, like if you see the big ones like Apple, I think reports this week, Amazon also, if those ones do really, really well, it could cause the S&P 500 to really make a move higher, and vice versa. If things look really poor, you can get some nasty sell-offs during earnings season as well. So if things are under, that's one thing to really be cautious about with stocks, is if earnings are poor after a really long stretch like this, that would be a big shock to markets, and you could see some big sell-offs. So keep an eye on that. Be careful about that if you're trading the S&P or any of the US indices this week. All right. So I do want to remind you guys before I go further, we're doing a 25% off sale for our gold membership. There's a link down below in the description. Inside of the group, I mentioned it earlier, but any trades that I take, if I end up going long or short on a currency pair, I share the exact reasoning why. I mentioned earlier my trade on USD CHF, but I want to remind you guys, if you are looking to join us, use that code down below in the description. If you're hanging out with me live, you get 25% off the gold membership. If you're looking to join us, now's your chance to do it for the cheapest that it usually, we don't usually do sales that are that big. So if you want 25% off, again, use that code. And we're looking for more serious traders to join us. We're not looking for people who are just trying to get rich quick or anything like that. But if you are serious about Forex and you want to join our community, we were doing a 25% off sale. So this is your, call it a commercial break or whatnot. But if you have any interest, again, I want to make it available to you guys who have been waiting on the sidelines. So again, all you do, go down in the description and then head over to the membership page and just select the gold membership package. And if you use that code YT Live, it's 25% off. Okay, there you go. There's your little pitch. But again, for those of you guys who have been waiting to get in, now's your chance. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if we can get into another thing here. I want to talk about the pound. What's the pound doing today? Is the pound moving? Pound seems to be giving back a little bit of its gains last week. Well, I guess actually it sort of already did some of the pullback last week, but we seem to be having a little bit of continuation here. Pound suffering against the US dollar today a little bit. It looks like it might head down and retest this zone here, 1.385 that we've been watching. I mentioned in my Sunday video that I'd probably be interested in a buy trade on the pound should we head back down to the lows. And this is mostly just a range bound play. So, I'm not a super bull or bear on the pound dollar because I like the US dollar and I like the pound at the same time right now. So I'm bullish on both currencies. So in that case, I'm probably not willing to, try and go super short or super long. But if there was a trade set up here, if there was some nice little, maybe some rejection or something, I could see myself just trying to grab the low of this range, because I think that the pound does have a lot of room to grow. I think that that's sort of the story, and continue higher overall. SoapJS, don't you worry, we'll get there. We will get to gold. Just stay with me. We do gold every single day, because I know there's a lot of you guys who like gold. So don't you worry, we'll get there. All right, so let's see what else we are looking at here. For those of you guys, shout out to the couple people we have on the other channel right now. We have a secondary channel. It's called A1 Trading on YouTube. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff over there on the secondary one. So if you guys want more content from us, we're going to be trying to do live streams throughout the day with a couple different hosts. Some of maybe the people you know might be showing up on those at some point. So definitely invite you to subscribe to that channel. Just look up A1 Trading on YouTube. Just open another tab or whatever, and follow us there if you've been looking to get some more content. We're going to be doing some webinars and some educational stuff. I got to keep shouting it out because we want to grow it so that more people can tune into those. So, but anyways, thank you very much, guys. We've got a lot of people in here. We got 420 people on my channel. So thank you so much for being here. Hey, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure to like it down below. And for those of you guys who are wanting to see gold, like I said, give me a moment. We will take a look there soon enough. USD Jpy maybe. Dentoy will try and get there as well. I like that currency pair. I want to talk about it as well. So thanks for the recommendation. And as Dade says, yes, please use code SAVE. Or actually, no, I think the code Dade is YT Live is the one to use there. So you can check that one out. It's down below in the description, all the information for it. Anyways, on a daily basis, how many pairs do you follow? Well, good question. So for me, when I'm looking at currencies, I can look at, I pretty much focus mostly on the major 8. So I'm looking at the developments in, the US dollar, the euro, the pound, the Aussie, the CAD, the New Zealand, the Swiss franc, and the yen. So those are the ones that I focus. And then I'll cross all of them, which sounds weird. But generally what happens is I usually, I go through and I trade the ones that I'm most bullish on versus the ones that I'm most bearish on. So I do like a overview of what I'm looking at in the markets, whether that is, I'll look at all the different currency pairs, but I will focus on the ones that I like one against the other. For example, we will talk about really quick USD Jpy because someone requested it. This is a currency pair, a good example of one that I like to trade right now because I am bullish on one and bearish on the other. When we look at USD Jpy, so anyways, the short answer to what you asked is that basically I trade the currencies that I'm bullish on against currencies that I'm weak on. And that changes. So I don't stick to like 2 currency pairs. I know some people like to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. If I had to choose a few currency pairs, I'd probably trade things like euro dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, like the main ones, right? Anyways, dollar yen. So I'm bullish on this currency, the dollar, and I'm bearish on the yen. So that makes it fairly simple for me to have a bias going into this. The reason behind that is it's not like a simple, quick answer, but essentially the idea is I'm bearish on the yen because it is more of a risk off currency. People sell this thing during the good times and they buy it when things are fearful. It's because their economy is pretty stable, but it's also not the fastest growing one compared to something like the US. So the US has had some good numbers. Unemployment's been dropping dramatically. Things are looking good. GDP is growing, all that stuff, right? So that's why I have a bullish bias. Remember, when we are trading currencies, we're trading real things. We're betting on economies. So looking at those economies to me is important. Understanding, I am by no means like a professional economist, and there's a lot to this stuff. So I don't want to try and say I know it all, but that plus my technicals can give me a little bit of a bias that I find very helpful in my trading. So when I look at dollar yen, however, there's not a ton of interest here for me where we currently sit. You can see that like really there's not like major demand until you get all the way down to here. So in this currency pair, we've had a lot of, I thought we might have a chance to hold this level. We did not hold that level. We actually broke lower. And so for me, looking at this currency pair, there's not a ton of interest until you start seeing a pullback to something like this 61.8, which actually looks really good if we can be patient enough, if we do see that drop for a long trade there. That actually lines up really nice with the 200-day as well. In fact, that's like a beautiful trade setup. I would definitely take that trade if everything continues to look this good on the dollar yen. Definitely would be possibly interested in jumping into that trade. We'll see if we ever get that. Sir G says, Nick, I understand your bullishness views on but look at the weekly chart. It looks interesting. Yeah, so on the weekly chart, it looks bearish, right? Because you've got the super long-term sort of downtrend look. But for me, the thing is, the fundamentals, they change. They're forward-looking. So yes, there might be a super long-term sort of downtrend on the weekly, but for me, looking as a swing trader on the 4-hour and daily chart, that weekly long-term trend, it's something to at least have in the back burner, but it's not like the most important thing to me. I'm more interested in short-term, what's going on, and then the daily chart, what's the momentum looking like, and trying to capture moves. Just something like, if you saw a move like this would be a really, really powerful move for a swing trader like myself. That's hundreds of pips there. So that's what I'm looking at. Mariana says, is there a 10-year interest rate info on the A1 trading site? No, there's not, but there is. You can look at the COT report on the 10-year bonds, I believe. So you can check that out as well in the COT report section. All right, so let's look at something else. I know there's a lot of people who are ready for gold, so let's do gold. Tudsy says, finally made it to my first live session. Hope you're doing great, Nick. Tudsy, thanks for being here. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you guys here, and welcome to all the new people here on the stream. Always good to have new faces as well as our regulars hanging out in the stream. All right, so we're going to look at gold. I know everybody wants to talk about gold. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it. But I think before we do, I think we got to look at the COT reports. Before we look at the chart, I know everybody wants to look at the chart, but let's look at the COT reports and see what the big boys and girls did. All right. So we are here on the website, a1trading.com, headed over to COT reports right here. And this is going to give us the latest COT report data. Okay. So if I head over here to commodities and click gold, we'll go right here and we can scroll down and we can see what positions are looking like. Okay, so I'm interested in the non-commercials, and it seems like there wasn't a big shift here. Let's look at this. Okay, so what this chart is showing you is it's showing you the change in positions according to the futures market that reported by the COT report. Now, I've done videos on the COT report. You can go watch them if you want, or you can read up on the website, but it is basically a display of big positions held by large institutional traders. So I'm going to say that we've really shifted sideways on gold, which actually is kind of a mixed. To be honest with you, I was hoping to see, for the bullish case, to see more upward movement on the COT reports. I was hoping to see some bigger buy pressure on the COT report. We got this big bump right here. Check this out. So we got this big bump a few weeks back. We were all kind of excited about it, watching on the streams because we talked about it. We said, hey, this could be a turnaround point for gold. Remember when we saw this, look what happened. We saw a big turnaround on gold to the sell side start of 2021 and ended up being a multi-month downtrend that was hundreds and, well, I guess even thousands of pips to the downside. So there's some really, really good moves there. And then we started to see, hey, bam, we just did the opposite. Maybe it's time to reverse. Well, since then, we've stayed flat, similar to how we did here. So we've stayed flat on the COT report since then. So this doesn't necessarily give me a huge bias towards longing gold or anything like that. In fact, I've been pretty mixed / bearish on gold on the longer term for the time being. So when we look at this, what we see is that there was downward market. So I will say at least the sell pressure has at least seemingly subsided for now on gold. So this being a sideways does not give us a huge amount of upside, in my opinion, on the gold market. So based on the COT reports, yes, we've seen a shift from straight up selling to more sideways, but now you can actually see that if we're staying sideways and the market is getting a bit stretched higher, I would actually say that there might be some good sell pressure setups coming in on gold should we get up to that 1810. This actually gives me more interest in being a bear at fresh highs if we come into some fresh supply levels. So I draw supply and demand zones on my chart just fairly simply as levels where price has pivoted sharply, right? You see price coming up, shooting down, price coming up, shooting down. And on the opposite, price coming down, shooting up, right? Those are levels of demand and supply based on my incredible analysis, right? No, it's very simple. So the idea here is that if for me, if price does shoot up, which we've talked about short-term bullish cases on gold, I would say that if price does find its way up to those points, I would say that that's where I would be more interested in being a bear on gold than anything else. Because again, COT reports are mixed / sideways. And as we stretch higher, that could mean that things are going to be a little bit on the old sell side, right? So if you stretch too high, again, and there's no such thing as really too high, but if there's just not a strong level of demand from the big players in here, then it's going to be a little bit less appealing to me. So that's my thoughts on gold. So for me, I'll show you the daily chart as well. Whoops, that's the weekly chart. Let's look at the daily chart here. We will go here. We're under the 200-day moving average. We've got some strong resistance here. That to me is the main play on gold, if anything, as I'd be looking to probably be more of a seller favoring that US dollar on this gold market should price continue higher. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't know. What do you guys think? Or do you disagree with me, or do you agree with me on gold? I don't know. I would say, if I was to take a trade on gold, it would be a sell setup on gold. So if we get a bit of an extension, I think there might be room there for some more sell pressure. 2020 was an incredible year for gold because there was so much uncertainty in the world, right? Things were so concerning with the pandemic, and elections were going on in the US, and they were incredibly uncertain, and people were afraid of riots and civil war and all that craziness, right? And thankfully that's behind us, or at least it seems to be. Every other week something changes, but in 2021 we've actually seen the opposite. We saw a lot more stability as things sort of have been recovering, and all the craziness has seemed to at least calm down a bit. And so, fingers crossed, I'm not trying to knock on wood, but the idea is that is sort of a bearish case for gold, because a lot of times people buy gold as a store of wealth when things are scary or against inflation, or people, think that, there's trouble in the world, they might buy gold. So if things continue to be looking positive for the world, it could actually be a bearish thing / a sideways thing for gold. So that's my thought. Let's look at it for a day from a 1 hour chart for those of you guys who are day trading gold. I do think that from a purely technical view, very nice little uptrend, right? You've got some buyers coming in here and here. And it does look like we could see something like this happen on gold. So if anything, short term, nice little setups there. Of course, you've got the previous top resistance that you'd have to break through. But I think that if you could tag up there into that 1810. That's still quite a big move there on gold. What is that? That's like $33 worth of change on gold from 1777 or where we are currently, roughly, right? So that's what I'm looking at on the price of gold here today. All right, so let's see. What else can we get ourselves into? Anybody have any major requests? I'll see if I can do one for you. We did talk about the pound a little bit, but we could do some more pound pairs. We'll see what people want to look at. Focus on the current situation. The thing is, markets, Calvin, definitely focus on the current situation, but they also kind of think into the future, right? Like usually when people buy a market, what they're doing is, if you're buying a stock or you're buying a currency, whatever, you're betting on the future price, really, right? Because you're trying to say, if I'm buying this, I think it's going to go higher. If I'm selling this, I think it's going to go lower in the future. So it's kind of an interesting concept in markets. You buy it now with the expectation of what's happening in the future, and that's how people sort of price it in. What about pound yen? I think, a couple of requests for pound yen. So we'll take a look at pound yen today, see what we've got on this one. Pound yen is a wild currency pair, and it honestly, this one and I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship. Last week, pound yen did me dirty. Basically, I took a long position. Check this out. So I took a long position on pound yen right here. And what happened is I had a stop loss like right here. And you can see the rest is history. I bought here thinking that price had room to go higher. And then what happened is it sort of went down, went up. I was profitable for a little bit, and then price whammed all the way back down just to tag me out of my stop and then continued higher. Now, I actually know some of the members that saw that trade. I got a lot of messages right after. So for you guys who are VIP members, you guys might want to hear this. So I actually got a lot of messages on this trade. So I took the trade. I called it out to members, and usually, you've got people who, some people agree with me, some people disagree with me, but a lot of people apparently liked the trade as well. They ended up taking pound yen long, and a lot of people they stayed in it. So I don't know if it was just my broker execution or whatnot. I'm not going to play, blame games or, oh, is my broker trying to screw me? Because, I think it just happens sometimes. You get barely tagged out of a stop loss, which is annoying, but it happens. So anyways, I got tagged out, and then I get like 10 messages from members who are like, Nick, I'm still in the trade. What do you mean? And I'm just like, oh, that's really annoying. So I got tagged out of a stop, and it happens to the best of us. Like, honestly, I would be fronting if I said that this never happens to me. It happens sometimes. It's a little bit frustrating, but it's part of the game. So I bought. Price went down just enough to tag me out of my stop loss and then reversed on me. Has anybody had this happen to them? It's a trick question because I think probably everyone has had that happen to them, except the know-it-all traders on YouTube. You guys ever see those comments on YouTube that are like, "Oh, Nick, well, you should have just done this. It's so obvious, right?" Or I call them hindsight traders, the people who always know what was the right thing to do after it happens. They never know when it's happening, but they always know after it happens. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but I find those comments slightly irritating, but also kind of comical because it's just like, real traders, they don't talk like that. So whenever you see somebody who is like super confident, like they're overly cocky about their trading, you can almost assume that they lose money trading, that they don't know what they're doing, because real traders understand that there's no level of certainty in markets. There's always the chance for something really crazy to happen, something really unexpected, because that's life. Life is unexpected, right? Sometimes, accidents happen or really great things happen. Things just come out of the blue sometimes. And same thing with markets. So anybody who acts like they know it all in the markets, don't listen to them. They do not. Nobody knows everything, right? So my thought is hindsight is 2020. Yeah, right. So my thought is for the traders in my community, for those of you guys who caught that trade and stayed in it, congratulations. You probably made some money on it. Unfortunately, I got stopped out, but I know some people who ended up running with it right after I got stopped out. So congrats to those of you guys who got it. But it happens. Bull on the pound, says Hamidi. Yeah, I'm pretty much bullish on the pound as well. I think that this currency pair has more room to the upside. Honestly, I was really hoping to see if price broke this level, a move down here, because I wanted to buy it at 148.5, but didn't get that move just yet. Maybe it happens later on in the week. We'll see, but we will definitely see. Sheila says, I'm still in it. Congrats to you. You're one of the people who played it better than I did. So congrats. All right. So anyways, with that said, looking at pound yen, this one has been sideways. It's been taking a pause, but I think, at some point I do expect us probably to rally back to previous highs and maybe even extend past them, especially if this whole global pandemic sort of subsiding story continues. If that continues to play out, I would expect the pound to outpace the yen in most likely. So that's my thought. Okay, so guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Before I go, if you have an interest in joining our community, I do want to remind you that we are doing a 25% off sale on our gold membership. I'll flash up the little thing at the bottom of the screen. So you can use the code down below in the description. You can read up. If you select the gold package, then you get 25% off if you use that code. So head down there if you want to try out our community. Definitely the place to be if you're a serious Forex trader. We've got a full staff and team working very hard to make that community as good as it is. And for you guys who are already in the community, if you are not already a gold member and you want to upgrade, you can use that code as well. So check it out. If you plan on sticking with us for the long term, it's the best bet. It's actually, it comes out to basically, if you stayed for an entire year, it's $1 a day. If you stayed for 2 years, it's 50 cents a day. So if you're serious about your Forex trading and you really want to, find a good community, it's 50 cents a day if you stick with us for 2 years. So, and I know many people in the community who have been with us for a year plus. So if you have any interest, again, thanks very much for tuning into today's stream. That's your chance to join with us for a cheaper discounted price. And maybe we'll see some of you guys in there. Thanks so much for being a part of today's stream. I hope you guys got something out of it and you come back and hang out with us in the future. So thanks so much. We'll see you.